Well, shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45LC coming to you from the hot lead zone. And what you're looking at is my Glock 10mm. It's the Glock Model 20. Now, you know that I've got 3 other Glocks, and all those 3, I have aftermarket barrels that I use for shooting my reloads. Well, I haven't gotten my aftermarket barrel for my 10mm yet because there are other projects more pressing. But yesterday at the range, I was shooting and I saw this 10mm brass on the ground. Now, first thing I do is look at it, and obviously this is Glock brass because it has the distinctive Glock firing pin indent. And also the cases are blown out so that that's the Glock chamber at play. Perhaps you can see the bulge right at the web better from this angle. And I've said it before, but rifle shooters, if they see this kind of stuff in their brass, they would be appalled. But I picked up 4 of them, not to reload, but just to bring home and put into my Glock pistol to see the way the Glock chamber will allow Glock brass to go back in. So here's what I found out. You know that I've got other videos where I take Glock fired brass and that brass will go back into another Glock chamber, but it won't go into a chamber of another pistol that's 9mm or 45, this kind of thing, because the Glock chambers are oversized. So when you try and put fired brass from Glocks into other chambers, the brass won't go in. So I'm expecting this fired Glock brass for 10mm to be able to go back into a Glock chamber, and lo and behold, that happens. That's a Glock fired 10mm round going into a 10mm Glock chamber, factory barrel, and it won't go in. That one goes in farther, but still doesn't go in. That one almost makes it, but the reason why is I pounded that one down trying to get into the chamber, and it still won't go in all the way. I had to pound it back out by using a rod from that end. But that one really is blown out, and it's brass like this that has the bulge right there at the web that is so pronounced that it makes us wonder how close this round came from having a blowout right there. So it looks like Glock has done something with the chamber tolerances in the newer Glock barrels, the factory barrels, because if they were using the same chamber as this old Glock that the other shooter was shooting, then that brass should go into this chamber. It doesn't go in. And if you take some Glock ammo, take some 10mm ammo, and you put it in that chamber, you see that that's about as well supported a case head that you'll see in a Glock. That's pretty good case support that we have there. It's not bad. And when you wiggle it, yes, it still wiggles more than other chambers, but that's not as bad as it used to be. This is interesting because when I shoot my own fired Glock brass, this is my own ammo, you see it, the fired brass goes right back into my Glock chamber as we would expect. But the Glock that fired this one is really blown out. I like my own brass. I don't like this blown out brass. So apparently Glock has made this change without a lot of fanfare, and the reason I suspect that this has occurred is because any big company needs to increase their market in order to maintain their viability. This is a common principle that we see in big business. Other strategies that big businesses use is they update their products to other generations and thereby try to attract more sales, or they'll diversify into other product lines and other products to take advantage of their successful image and brand. So whereas Glock was going for the law enforcement and military market before, and they weren't designing their guns for reloaders, that now that the militaries and the law enforcement markets have been penetrated to a great degree, the viability of Glocks needs to increase their market. And so now they are actually going to the reloading market, the sportsman's market, and without a lot of fanfare, by the way. So this move is to get more satisfaction for the reloaders and sportsmen out there, and might be the reason they made this change. And increasing the safety, of course, and less kaboom incidences, less liability issues for the company. Well, for sure I welcome this, because as a shooter and reloader, I don't appreciate shooting, for instance, the buffalo bore or the Corban or double tap ammo or anything like that, the high intensity stuff, and seeing the brass look like it was getting ready to separate or blow out. So I welcome that change in the Glock tolerances, and still look forward to getting my aftermarket barrels so I can shoot my cast bullets. Bye for now.